All right, guys. Hey, look, it's been a minute since I've tapped into some clones, so I've got one for you. It is a banger, but we're gonna get a fresh evaluation of it because it's been a while since I've put it on my skin. But it's somewhat typical, but I think it will be quite relevant for you guys, especially since it's one of the highest sold fragrances of all time. So strap up. We are going for that ride. All right, welcome to the show, The Scent Bubble. I am your host for the evening. Today we're going to talk about a fragrance from the house of Fragrance World, and that is Suave Parfum. What do you think it's cloning? You know it. I know you. I can hear you guys through the screen. SB, are you serious? This late in the journey, you're going to ask us if we know what Dior Sauvage looks like? Yes, I am. Matter of fact, I'm parched, man. Been kicking off these reviews. And listen, Dior Sauvage. Reason I wanted to bring this to your attention is because the Dior Sauvage renditions that we are most familiar with in the marketplace today are twists for the most part. They all kind of veer off after they get about 85% close to the DNA. Now, there's different renditions of Sauvage. You know, you have the EDT, the EDP, the P, and the Elixir, which is significantly different from the latter. And so there's a lot of different renditions that people are chasing after, but a lot of people have put twists on the DNA as well because it was duped and cloned a lot earlier than a lot of the other fragrances we see today in the marketplace. Now, with Suave, they have a lot of different versions. They have an EDT, a EDP, a Parfum, an Elixir, and I think there's one other unique one that I forget the name to. I got this from Triple Traders, and I actually know the folks at Triple Traders. I'm often communicating with them. And so one of these days I was just kind of fooling around and I won this in an auction, and he asked me which version I want, one of the reps. And I just said, hey, give me the best one. And they're around this particular fragrance quite often, and a lot of people get it. And so he just said, you know, I'll send it to you. You'll know what it is or whatever. You know, I'll pick it out for you, but I'm not going to tell you which one I'm sending you. And he sent me the Parfum. And so I've tried a couple of the other renditions, and I know this is better, but I haven't tried all of them truthfully. But what I can tell you is that Fragrance World has kind of nailed it a little bit. They make a great Dior Sauvage. Now, in 2026, which is when this video was recorded, are people still trying to smell like Sauvage? Honestly, I think so, you know, and maybe I think the reason I kind of wanted to do this video, and I'm going to just dive into the initial impression, is because I think a lot of people have actually held off from Sauvage, unless you got the actual Dior Sauvage, you know, either rendition or the Elixir. Because there's so many clones and they're kind of played out and the names have kind of been around for a long time, it almost feels like people have graduated from Sauvage without even owning Sauvage. So I'm kind of speaking back to that crowd to kind of say like, hey, we should go back into Sauvage. I mean, I just think it is a staple. I think prior to that, you know, Versace Eros, the blue bottle in the EDT, really any concentration, I prefer the EDT. It's the cheapest. It's the brightest to me. That is the most versatile fragrance of all time. It goes fresh in the day. It goes intimate in the night. It's kind of this hybrid fragrance similar to a Valentino Uomo style where, you know, it's appealing to the date night style plus the daytime feel. And the sweetness is scaled down to really play that hybrid space completely and play it well. Sauvage, though, does the exact same thing, but tones up on the daringness and on the edginess and on the maturity. I find it to be a much more juxtaposed style fragrance. So it's got this sweetness and then it's got this fresh spiciness, but they collaborate a lot more aggressively. The marketing is really appropriate for Dior Sauvage. They had the Pirates of the Caribbean guy on there, and it's kind of supposed to be a bad boy fragrance, you know? So the good boy wears Eros, the bad boy wears Sauvage kind of thing. And so I think this is like a very necessary piece to the marketplace. You know, it almost has a similar, and you guys are going to hate me for saying this, but I really don't care. It's my mind, and so I'm going to use it, right? My mom tells me I'm great. But I really feel like the growl that you get from the Sauvage line is a McDonald's more palated version of the style of fragrance you get from something like Fahrenheit. Now, granted, Fahrenheit smells like gasoline and it's extremely aggressive and there's bite, but in terms of the spice growl, this seems to be like shouting at it in the distance. You know, you still get some good growl, some edginess. It's not all sweet and fun and games. There's a serious man behind this. He's unpredictable. There's just enough sweetness to be sexy. There's a ton of freshness in here, but it seems to just really play more of a, it's marketed like a bad boy fragrance. I think generically in the marketplace, it just serves as kind of this more serious non-boy toy version of Eros, you know, where Eros kind of feels like you'd wear a turtleneck or something. You know, and you know, that's crazy to say because I wear Eros a lot and I think the man makes the fragrance with Eros. But I'm just saying in terms of the tonality of it, it's very it's not playful. It's very casual toned, very fresh, kind of like I'm wearing this because I know women love it kind of vibe. Where this I feel is more unapologetically masculine, and the original OG Sauvage, and it plays more of a women want this guy because of the edginess and the unapologeticness of this fragrance. But it still tries to give you some of the sweet bells and whistles and freshness that women appeal to, but it's more on that darker tone, serious tone. And so I think it's a Swiss Army knife for a fragrance collection. If you haven't found your Dior Sauvage that you think best fits you, and you're not concerned with getting right into the OGs, I think there's just some stellar clones out there, and the Fragrance World line feels the most accurate. This Suave Parfum is very nice. The longevity on it is 6+ hours easily. Depending on your skin and hygiene and all that stuff, it can go further, but safe 6+, you know, it could cover a work shift. It's a parfum, so it's, to me, rounded off and smoother. It doesn't have this kind of tart, fresh brightness. It's still bright, but it's more of that smooth criminal leather jacket feel. There's no leather in it, but it just, I think it's the smoothest rendition out of most of these, even though I haven't tried all of the Suaves. I do trust the Triple Traders representative who hand selected this as being the best, and they carry all 5 of them. And regardless, this is just an incredible fragrance. Let's switch screens. I know that was really long-winded. 4.4 out of 5, but take that with a grain of salt because only 5 people voted on this. And again, I just think that that's due to the redundancy of Sauvage clones in the marketplace. Also, this one came out in 2021. So let's go ahead and see what the notes are. Bergamot and Mandarin, Sandalwood and Cedar, Tonka Bean and Vanilla. Now, looking at this note composition, you might be led to believe this is a very simplistic kind of generic scent. And it is, but it's blended so well that it actually feels quite complex compared to looking at this. It's really a 3-dimensional fragrance. It's got that base note of the sweetness and the Tonka bean, but the woods and the citruses feel quite complex. Not overly complex, but complex enough to be a staple, solid fragrance that you would wear, and people would totally think you're rocking the real thing. You wouldn't even have to bat an eye feeling like, you know, you'd be an imposter or something to the actual fragrance. Man, this is just really stellar. I think what it comes down to for me is the price point. Where does this price point sit? Again, I scored this in an auction, so I can't really speak too much on it in terms of price, but look at that. So you can get the Suave Elixir for 30 bucks. So I'd imagine the Parfum you could get for 30 or less bucks. I think that's just an incredible price. If you don't have Dior Sauvage of any kind, this is a phenomenal option. There's no synthetics to this at all. It's a staple fragrance. You'll wear this a lot. You know what I'm saying? It just makes all the sense in the world. Let's scroll out for a second and go through some usual suspects. I think it gears towards afternoons and evenings. So it could be a year-round fragrance, but I think it's more of an indoor or slight breeze type of fragrance. The tonality of it feels darker, but it's super fresh still. You know, it's like if you're a fan of YSL-Y or YSL Myself or Eros or anything like that, it occupies that space of versatility as a staple signature scent. Occasions for this, truthfully, I mean, I would wear it to work. I would wear it on a date, bachelor sundown, anything in the evening. It's just, I think, masculinity in a bottle. And I think that's why the YSL-Y, the YSL Myself line, the Sauvage line, all those fragrances kind of just sell so well because it gives the young guys a sense of maturity, but it still has all the freshness and the sweetness that you wanted from your other typical designers. And for grown men, I think collectors feel like they outgrow this, but for the everyday man, the practical user, this is still feels of, I hate to say niche quality, but of great quality. Like you picked a great fragrance. You know what I'm saying? So I just think it's a staple, and that's why I got it, because it's been a long time since I've worn Sauvage. I don't have any more re-up Sauvage around. I've tried them all, and it's nice to just have this DNA laying around. And because it's laying around, I've worn this quite often. I'm very impressed with it. So I think in the clone game, having staples is like really important. You know, we always want to see a clone fragrance clone something that's incredible and unique and one of one and all this stuff. But where I think clones really shine is in covering all your staple bases, all of your daily driver bases. So that way you can spend your money when it comes to niche and more expensive fragrances. You can spend those on not glorified generic fragrances, but unique stuff to you as a person, and unique stuff that nobody else out there is going to wear, and unique stuff that can't be cloned. So with that being said, honestly, I'm going to shoot for the stars on this. I'm going to say that Dior Sauvage is a 9 out of 10 for me type of fragrance. The clone is a 9 out of 10 for me. They nailed it to me. I think the accuracy feels very much north of 90%. Ageless fragrance, I think 20 and down, it'll put some hair on your chest, but get some hair on your chest. You know what I'm saying? So ageless for men. Price point's great. Sprays on this, I'm going 6 to 8, especially with a clone. Sometimes you got to give yourself a little extra oomph. It's a parfum, things like that. I'm spraying myself down quite a bit. Yeah, I mean, alternatives, I don't think, I wouldn't feel comfortable recommending any alternatives other than the real thing. But in the marketplace today, save your money. You know, Dior Sauvage has been around forever, and you're just paying for the name at this point. So get yourself a nice dupe and move on to the bigger and better things of the future, you know? Yeah, I think you got to have this in your collection, point blank, period. And honestly, Sauvage is a unique DNA in the marketplace. I really feel like Sauvage is kind of like the genesis of what most designer houses are doing with more masculine toned fragrances, especially with the whole YSL series that we've seen recently. They've been on a tear. But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any other information I can give you guys. Definitely get into this. You know, it's a staple banger. You would wear it a lot. You really would, because of the DNA, the versatility. It's a great fragrance. And as far as me giving it a 9, I really feel like Sauvage gets a lot of points because there's a lot of stuff that smells like Eros. You know, a lot of stuff with apple, a lot of stuff with lavender, you know, but this kind of like licorice, fresh, spicy kind of tone to it, this balsamicness to it. It's Sauvage smells like a lot of stuff in the marketplace, but it came out before it all. So it's almost like, no, they're copying it. But I give it a 9 just because, you know, it's a great scent. It's got a good amount of complexity for a designer fragrance, a good amount of uniqueness, longevity, performance, that edgy, fresh vibe, you know. I just think Dior Sauvage was a special fragrance, you know, especially all the different variations and ways that they tweaked it. It's really nice. It's above average, and it's at least an 8 to everybody, to me politically, but to me personally, I just think this style and all that, as far as clone category is concerned, it's a 9, you know. And for a lot of you guys, it'll be a 10 out of 10 as far as a daily driver. You look at all your daily driver fragrances that are cheapies under $100. This is going to beat out a lot of that stuff. So get your nose on it, maybe. Or maybe just smell the Sauvage Parfum OG. And if you like it, get Suave. It's really good. Fragrance World does knock it out of the park quite often. So anyways, guys, this was Fragrance World's Suave Parfum. And you can get it for like $30, and I think you should definitely get it. I do think it's blind buy worthy. So like, comment, subscribe. More importantly, turn on that notification bell. Talk to me. I do talk back. What is your Sauvage go-to? You guys out there who already have Sauvage, what's the Sauvage clone that actually clones Sauvage? Not all the twists. We know about the Assads and all that stuff. Give me something that smells exactly like OG, any rendition of Sauvage that is your staple go-to, and have you guys put your nose to the Fragrance World rendition, because oftentimes I think a lot of people just don't know about it because it's only offered on like Triple Traders and a couple of select retailers. But hopefully it gets some more respect, because as timeless as Club de Nuit Intense Man is for Aventus, I think the Suave line is pretty much timeless for Sauvage, because Sauvage is just as popular and should be just as popular. But anyways, hope you guys have a blessed rest of your week. I'm going to put 2 videos up on the screen here that I think you'll be interested in based off what you've been searching for. Guys, use the playlist tab to sort through my channel. There's so much content coming for 2026. It's not even funny, and I don't want you to miss a thing. And most of you guys do miss stuff because I post multiple videos every single day. So stick around, turn the notifications on, and become a part of the family. I respond to all my comments. I get hundreds of comments a day. I respond thoughtfully to all of them. Guys, if you're new to the channel, stick around and find out. This is the place to be if you're into fragrances. Love you guys. Stay blessed. Peace.